My final report as Lieutenant Governor of Marketing, I want to talk about some very important things. Number one, right off the bat, I want to start with what went well. That's the way you should start any report, is talking about what went well. And I think this year we had a very good year in growing our marketing methodology. And by that, what I mean is, with no real turnover from last year, I had to start from scratch in that process of starting new clubs. We had only one club that was really in work at the very end of last year, and that was the Cox Club here in town. Other than that, all of our prospects have been generated during this year. We were successful in starting 6 new clubs, all of which actually chartered in the 2010 calendar year because of that lag getting started. But we did get that process started now. We have not only those 6 clubs that have completed chartering, but we have 2 clubs at 18 members, 2 clubs at 15 members, and 2 other clubs that are prospective as well in works that may charter in the next 2 to 3 months. So we've really had a good, solid basis and a great turnover for the new year. We've also overcome some of the membership problems that we've had the last couple of years and turned around the trend. We have lost members this year, but not as bad as we had in the prior 2 years. With the layoffs trimming down a bit and people starting to get back to work, we've had a little bit better success with membership. We did finish about 150 short of what we had last year, which ended up being about 250 short of our goal. But overall, we were on the right track and moving forward. For our overall membership, one of the things I found as Lieutenant Governor of Marketing was that our membership contests always seem to have very similar themes, so I decided to try something new this year, and quite frankly, it didn't work out like I'd hoped. If you remember hearing anything about our contest, instead of doing anything based strictly on membership numbers, we worked on getting guests through the door, and our programs were to have 5 guests in a single meeting. This club actually met that goal last fall and received the incentive, which was a Leadership Excellence Series set. I don't recall if Semi-Pro did it in the spring now that I'm standing here talking about it, but very few clubs did meet that goal, and I think there were 2 reasons why that happened. Number one, it was a little complicated. Even though really it doesn't sound very tough when you hear you just have to have 5 guests. The first one, the second one was 5 guests with some sort of theme. It still was not the normal, oh, let's just look at the number at the end and see if we have enough new members. So there was a little bit more to it. And also communication. We all know communication is very important. TLIs, we have roughly 400 officers attend TLIs throughout the district. And so those 400 people heard about those incentives, got a nice color marketing flyer about those incentives. They also received them through gavel articles. They also saw it on the District 22 website, and also some direct mail emails that went out as well. You add all that together, and what do you get? Not enough. It takes more to communicate these programs than just what we think is enough, which you would hope face-to-face in those TLIs and those other methods would be sufficient. But the fact is, people that I know were sitting in the room when I talked about that flyer turned around and said, our club didn't know that. And I watched them hold the flyer. So I know they saw it. And so what I see for the next year, and moving into the education and training, from my point of view and our new LGM as well, is that we need to do more than what we've done in the past, which is the things I've just discussed. We need to take time to really get with the clubs as much as we can and help our area governors to get with the clubs more directly on these incentives so they know what's going on and what opportunities are out there for their clubs and their members to be successful. Our club retention didn't go as well because we still had some effects from layoffs. We lost 3 clubs from one company in the last year, and that was Sprint up in Kansas City. And they still have 1 club that's still active as well. But where we did manage to have coaches, we had some good success. In fact, all of our second-year coaches finished this year successful, including Daryl Bishop and Lee Gray here in town with Hayworth, and 2 other coaches up in Kansas City with 2 different clubs. They were in their second year of coaching, and all of them, actually 2 finished, I think, select distinguished, and 1 was president's distinguished. So we really had some good finishes there. We also had 2 first-year coaches in Topeka that were successful as well. We have 8 other clubs that have coaches assigned currently, and we have 18 clubs that are coach eligible that do not have them assigned. Overall, we finished with 103 clubs in the district after starting with 105. So despite starting 6, we lost 8 and ended up low. At the end of the year, things are a little bit better. We have 49 clubs at charter strength, which is better than at the end of last year and better at any point during the year. We ran around 30 all year at charter strength, so to finish at 49 was pretty good. 28 clubs have between 13 and 19 members, and 26 have 12 or fewer altogether. We also had 75 clubs complete the DCP goal for 4 new members, which is a pretty good ratio, and 51 completed that second goal for 4 more new members. I mentioned that we chartered 6 clubs. Bundlers were the Cox Club here in town, Bartlett and West in Topeka, MSSU in Joplin, which is a school club, Deloitte, Kansas City, which was one that just self-chartered. They ordered their own kit, didn't answer any emails, and they called me and said, how do I get more of those new member kits? Send in the charter paperwork. And they did. Speak, Present, Excel, SPX is the company name. They didn't contact TI till the last week of April, and they chartered last week. So that went really quickly. Blue Cross also started in April and chartered last week as well. And Blue Cross's charter helped propel Topeka Division T to President's Distinguished, just like Division A was. They were the 2 President's Distinguished divisions in our district. On the report, you'll see some prospects. So the ones that are still in work are the ones that I mentioned earlier that are 18 and 15 members. And we have other ones that are on track to move forward. Whiteman Air Force Base and a college up in McPherson, Kansas are both preparing to send in applications to organize, which is the first step in chartering. This year has been very challenging, but I also think very rewarding for all of our marketeers, as I call them here in the district. There was a lot of hard work by members. There were certain people, I could name names, but I wouldn't be able to stay under the red light. But there were many people who did a lot of work outside of their own geographic area, a lot of driving, a lot of moving around and helping. And without them, without those members, without the club officers, even the club officers in this club as well, and our district officers across the district, we wouldn't have been as successful as we were. I do want to thank everybody for all their help this year, and I appreciate everything. That's been my marketing report, and that closes out my year as Lieutenant Governor of Marketing.